I'm glad to be here. Thank you for coming as well. So my name is Andrew Lukoshko. I'm a lead architect from the very beginning. So if you love or hate anything about AlmaLinux, I'm the right person to ask questions about this. So wow, 1 second. Okay. So our plan for the next 30 minutes is the following. So first I will talk about why AlmaLinux is not just CentOS Linux replacement as we wanted in the beginning, and how we make technical decisions and how can you participate in this process as well. And we'll talk a little bit about security, and then how can you build something on top of AlmaLinux, because we have several downstreams already. And at the end, we'll talk about how can you how can you upgrade, how can you migrate to AlmaLinux. Like at the end, you will have AlmaLinux anyway. So in several days, we will celebrate 5 years since our first stable release. We did in 2021, and it was AlmaLinux 8.3, and it was called Purple Manual. And yeah, initially we just wanted to replace CentOS Linux after what happened to CentOS Linux in 2021. But we wanted to make sure that this story will never happen again. So that's why we set up like non-profit foundation. That's why we're community-owned, non-commercial, and so on. So basically, you can't buy and shut down us. It's not possible. So yes, but we wanted to just replace CentOS Linux, but it found out that we did better. So you probably know that CentOS Linux goal was always to be like back-to-back compatible with Red Hat Enterprise Linux, but it's not possible. So yes, sure, you can build from same sources, but you can still exactly reproduce Red Hat's built environment and so on, because they just don't have access to it. So yeah, it's very close, but you can never reach this goal 100%. Instead of this, we recently, like 3 years ago, decided to be like ABI compatible. This means that I will explain later, which it means. So I have slides for that. So also in the past, you probably also remember this, CentOS Linux had pretty noticeable delays after Red Hat releases. So after Red Hat drops some minor releases, you usually have to wait about like 30 days or even more for CentOS to release the same version. And during all this time, you don't have any updates and security updates as well, even if they're critical security updates. So basically your system stays unupdated for like several days or even months. But we did it like from 1 to 6 days. So last releases we usually do in 6 days exactly. So because like Red Hat usually releases on Tuesdays, and we can do this in 3 days, but we never release on Fridays. So that's why we release next Monday, and it's always 6 days. And there were also delays for major releases, like huge delays for major releases from CentOS Linux side, because for 8.0 it was like 6 months as far as I remember. So it's huge delay. Usually we delay. Okay, we did 9.0 and 10.0 major releases so far, and usually it takes like up to 2 weeks to do that. So I would say pretty fast. And CentOS never had like any security data provided, like OVAL streams, DNF, update info. So you never could like just install security updates and skip bug fixes if you don't care if everything works for you. Why do you need the bug fixes at all? And we provide them all from the very first year. So we have a rat.almalinux.org portal with all the vulnerabilities fixed. You can use DNF update info command. You can set up your security scanners with our OVAL data and so on. And we also provide OpenSCAP support, which is never provided on CentOS Linux, but it's provided on Red Hat. So with OpenSCAP, you can set up your system for many security profiles. You can use it right from installer, or you can set up your system later, apply different security profiles to get like more secure system. Okay, so ABI compatible. As I said, what does it mean? For us, it means that every application that works in Red Hat, it works on AlmaLinux as well. And if it doesn't, then we have to fix it, because our goal is full ABI compatibility. And we also still include everything from Red Hat. So every bug fix, every security fix, everything that Red Hat has, we have it. And if you check like AlmaLinux package versions, they are exactly the same as in Red Hat. So every release, every version, everything is Red Hat. But now we can do something more, and we add additional bug fixes if our community requests them, and we can do security fixes earlier than Red Hat. Because usually, if it's not something very critical, like with CV severity under 7 or something, Red Hat may say, okay, we will do this in next minor releases in several months. But sometimes our community wants this earlier, and we can do that as well. And sometimes we even submit this to Red Hat to make them faster do this. And also we re-enable hardware that Red Hat decided to not include for some, I don't know, let's say non-technical reasons. So we re-enable older legacy hardware in AlmaLinux, and we also re-enable some software features disabled in Red Hat. So what exactly we did? Okay, yes. So features that are usually available in Fedora but disabled in Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So first of all, many legacy devices. Most of them like are network devices or storage devices. Especially interesting for storage devices, because if your system doesn't see like storage device, you can't even install it. So also we enabled SPICE protocol support for virtualization, virtual desktop, and so on. So it was removed since Red Hat 9. We brought it back. Also, we have like several big IBM Power users, and they require KVM virtualization, and it was also dropped from Red Hat since version 9. We brought it back. Something modern is bit better fast file system support. It was never available in Red Hat, but we did this since AlmaLinux 10. Also, which is interesting, in AlmaLinux 10, we also provide additional architecture, like called x86-64v2, which allows you to run this modern version on older processors than Red Hat supports. So basically, to run Red Hat 10, you need some modern CPU. Okay, not very modern, let's say. So newer than 2013. And we can run on older CPUs, like starting from 2008. So we have can have almost 20-year system, and you can run modern operating system for next 10 years until 2035. And we also enabled frame pointers support. So we built AlmaLinux 10 with frame pointers, so it allows you to do better debugging or profiling or whatever. So probably you don't know much about this, but your AI probably knows. Don't worry about this. So specific hardware we added. So here is a list of models we modified in our stock kernel and list of hardware. So probably if you ever heard of about EA repo projects, they do driver packages and they do driver disks to support all the hardware. So basically we did what they do, but right in stock kernel for this specific model, so you don't have to download additional packages, download additional driver disk. You don't have to wait when we release some new minor releases. It usually means that kernel is incompatible with previous one, and you have to wait for them to rebuild all these drivers again. And nothing like that happened because we have them right in stock kernel. And the whole list of additional hardware with all the PCI IDs, names, and so on, we always include it into our release notes for every minor release. And so how we decide what to do, how we decide how we deviate from Red Hat, what can we do, what we can't do. So before 2024, it was easy. I was the person who decided everything. But it's not a very good approach because I represent just one of the areas of market. I represent hosting company. So after 2004, we set up a special committee called AlmaLinux. Currently, it's 4 person and will be more later this year. So what we do? So it's like AlmaLinux is AlmaLinux Engineering Steering Committee, and we do like we have several responsibilities. We do technical oversight, we ensure transparency, we ensure long-term stability, we do release management, we support SIGs, we have a lot of them already. So basically, yes, we do decisions, and mostly we do decisions on how can we deviate from Red Hat. So here are decisions we made so far. So first decision was to build Apple for AlmaLinux V2 because, okay, we introduced AlmaLinux 10 for V2 and it allows users to run it on older hardware. But the problem is that you will never see in real world Red Hat compatible system without Apple enabled. So basically we had to rebuild the whole Apple again for this system as well. And we maintain this Apple in 2 versions for stable releases, like Red Hat based, and our development releases that are based on CentOS 3 currently. We also enabled KVM on AlmaLinux 9 for PowerPC. I said it before. We did small fix to GNOME workspace because like in vanilla, let's say GNOME, they have on left top corner, they have like workspaces indicator, and Red Hat decided to replace this indicator with just their logo. And we did like both of them. So we have both AlmaLinux logo there and workspace indicator. It's very minor, but our community wants this. And we also decided to build NVIDIA open source drivers and ship them. So difference is that if you use NVIDIA drivers built by us, they are signed with our key, so you can use it in secure boot mode without any problems. We enabled BetterFS and technical preview, and later to be like considered stable. We also enabled CRB repo in AlmaLinux 10 later. So we don't have to enable CRB if you use Apple again and so on. There are some issues with this. Usually if you have Apple enabled but you don't have CRB, you can have a lot of problems with dependencies, with SE Linux and so on. So to avoid this, it's enabled by default. And currently we're also investigating building newer kernels, like latest mainline kernels from kernel.org to support like newer hardware, latest features and so on. We'll also build them. We'll also sign with our key for secure boot and so on. So yeah, we're still discussing this. We're still discussing how to do that. We're still discussing should it be like Fedora-based kernel or it should be closer to either repo or kernel. So if you're interested, you should like join this discussion. So several words about BetterFS decision we made. So BetterFS is new generation Linux file systems that allows to do a lot of things natively, like copy on write, like sub-volume snapshots, transparent compression, built-in rate, and so on. Our community member, Meta, who is behind Facebook, they use BetterFS on their production servers, so they asked us to implement this in AlmaLinux. That's why AlmaLinux, since 10.1, they support BetterFS natively, so you can use BetterFS volumes, you can install on BetterFS volume, just like you can do with Fedora. Timeline for this decision. This was pretty fast decision, I would say. So initially what it was submitted in May. In June, we reviewed and accepted this. Also in June, we had first release of AlmaLinux Kitten, which is our development branch, with this feature enabled. And in the end, like in October, we had beta for AlmaLinux 10.1, and also like in November, we had stable release with this. So usually, like it takes like several months to get something to AlmaLinux, like it's major feature like this. If it's like minor, it can be faster. So how to propose something to us? We maintain everything in GitHub related to this committee. So basically, you need to just go on our repo, fill template with your proposal, and do pull request. And in this pull request, we'll discuss how we're going to do that, how to modify this probably proposal and so on to make it like more understandable for everyone and so on. Another decision we made recently is related to older architecture support. So Red Hat dropped 32-bit architectures like many years ago. So last 32-bit release was Red Hat 6. So it was so its end of life was in 2020. So no one should use this nowadays in production. Red Hat still has some 32-bit packages in Red Hat 8 and 9 to support older libraries, but they never allow you to run 32-bit system. And in Red Hat 10, they dropped this architecture completely. But we have customers, not customers. We don't have customers. Okay, we have users who use these libraries. So Arista networks use AlmaLinux 9 for 32 bits in their network hardware, like switches, routers, and so on. There are two reasons for that. 32 bits code, it consumes less memory, and also they want compatibility with older extensions that built for 32 bits. So they use AlmaLinux 9, but we don't have anything in 10 for them, and they want it. So we had to establish special interest group for this called AltArch. It's not only related to 32 bits. We also do RISC-V builds and so on. But specifically for 32 bits, this SIG will do the following. So our goal is to release 10.1 for 32 bits in May. And we're going to maintain AlmaLinux 9 until 2032 and AlmaLinux 10 for this architecture until 2035. And here is Meta again. They want this as well, not only Arista. Because yes, for some reason they use some libraries built for 32 bits, maybe for performance reasons. And what else? Finally, we have NVIDIA official support. So if you download latest SKU versions, you will see that they support AlmaLinux officially. Now you can use. We had users already for many years who use AlmaLinux with NVIDIA, but now they can do this officially. Now can do have all the official support from NVIDIA side, so it's officially supported. And we do drivers for NVIDIA since August last year already, and we continue to do this obviously. And now we also provide not only our drivers, but also, and we redistribute all the NVIDIA libraries from our primary repo. So we have a combined repo with both their libraries and our drivers together. Several words about security. So yeah, we provide OVAL data for security scanners. I think almost every security scanner supports OVAL. OpenSCAP security profiles and hardening guides. We provide this bomb data for many years already. For every package we build, you can get this bomb data. Not we this time. So CIS organization provides official benchmarks for all AlmaLinux versions. And also, thanks to our sponsors, we have also support for FIPS 143 by TaxCare, and also we have this stick made by CloudLinux. So it's also official. You can download this guide and harden your system using this documentation. What can you do with AlmaLinux? Obviously, you can use it, but you also can base your product on top of AlmaLinux. So we know several downstreams already. The most popular, I think, is CloudLinux. It's like standard in hosting industry. Also, we have several desktop-oriented operating systems, and also some commercial software vendors, they use AlmaLinux. So Alert Logic, for example, they use it for security service. Arista Networks uses for network devices. Cisco use AlmaLinux in their like virtual machines, appliance, and so on. They prefer to rebase them to AlmaLinux because CentOS 7 is not secure anymore. Okay. So why they decide to use AlmaLinux? So first of all, it's non-profit ownership, so you don't have any risks like CentOS did in the past. I also have 10 years life cycle for every major versions, and we also release major versions like every 3 years. ABI compatibility with Red Hat, predictable releases twice a year, frame pointers again if you're a software developer, and we also don't use any like nasty ways to get Red Hat sources, so it's also risk-free for us and for our users. And for example, how Cloud Linux develops on top of AlmaLinux. So in the past, Cloud Linux used to be just regular operating system. They rebuilt the whole Red Hat sources and also added some specific packages for them. So, but very fast they released on rebased on top of AlmaLinux to avoid rebuilding Red Hat because their business is not Red Hat compatible operating systems. Their business is like hosting, so they don't want to spend any time on rebuilding Red Hat. So they decided, okay, we'll take this part from AlmaLinux and we'll focus on our packages instead. So Cloud Linux 8 was rebased on in the middle of their like major release cycle, but next Cloud Linux versions were developed in with AlmaLinux in mind. So in this case, it became like simpler and simpler for them with every version to release their stuff, because basically what they want to take as many packages from our side. They want to maintain as less packages as possible on their side, and they want to focus on their own value. So if Cloud Linux 8 was operating system with own kernel, all secure boot stack, versions, releases, ISO images, and so on, in Cloud Linux 9 they decided to rebase on top of our kernel and our secure boot stack, but still produce minor releases and ISO images. In Cloud Linux 10, they decided, okay, we're not going to do minor releases anymore and ISO images. So basically, if you want Cloud Linux 10, you need to install AlmaLinux and then install Cloud Linux 10 on top. So in this case, they can spend much less time doing Red Hat rebuilding and so on. So how to reduce number of packages you are going to maintain? There are two ways. So first of all, you can ask us to include some specific patches necessary for your application, but it should not break API compatibility. So just minor changes. For example, Cloud Init. So we do some modifications in Cloud Init to make it work better than upstream version. And we also, in AlmaLinux, we also include Cloud Linux support for the same changes. So they don't have to maintain this package on their side. And also you can just submit your changes to upstream, and in this case they will be in every distribution. So, and how to use AlmaLinux secure boot stack. So we have a policy that allows vendors to give us their kernel models, and we can build them and sign them with AlmaLinux keys, so it make it compatible with our kernel in secure boot mode, so you don't have to deal with secure boot on your side. So in this case, yes, Cloud Linux does that, and they don't have to deal with secure boot anymore. So how to get AlmaLinux? There are a lot of ways, by the way, but we are at CloudFest in the end. So there are some CloudFest specific ways to get AlmaLinux, let's say. So all the major cloud platforms, all the major hosting providers you can imagine. If you run like OpenStack, OpenEBO on site, we have images for that as well. We have images for all container engines like Docker, Podman, LXC. We also provide bootc images, which is bootable container. So you can like maintain your system. You don't have to update your system package by package. You will just update the whole image of system at once. So if you currently run something else, there are other option. You can migrate your system to AlmaLinux. So if your system have any Red Hat compatible system and Red Hat itself as well, you can migrate it to AlmaLinux without even need to reboot the system. So obviously, until first reboot, it will run on older kernel, but then after reboot, it will start AlmaLinux kernel as well. But it can be later. So you can first update, then reboot someday. What if you have something older? So in 2021, we unlocked ability to do upgrades between major releases. It's usually not possible for EL compatible systems. Red Hat has tool for that called Leap, but it doesn't allow you to do anything except upgrading Red Hat system with Red Hat repos. But again, you will never see in real life system without Apple support and Apple repos. So we have to extend this. We have to extend it to make it work on other operating systems like AlmaLinux. And we also introduced additional repos support. So we have several repos like Apple, MariaDB, Postgre, and so on. So systems with these repos can be also upgraded easily. And recently, original project, Leap project, where they included AlmaLinux support upstream. So we don't have to maintain this anymore. We only maintain extended repos support. We don't need to focus on AlmaLinux support there. So I think that's it for today. So I will be ready for your questions either now, or you can easily find me here because I'm going to be there for the whole day. Thank you so much.